What's going on? Welcome back to Road to the Oaks and the Derby, presented by our friends up at Woodbine at HPI Bet. That's Jackson. I'm Ryan, and we are covering down in the Bayou this week. Part one was up at Turfway, covering the Bourbonnais Oaks and the Jeff Ruby Stakes. Jackson, this is part two, and we're down in Louisiana. It's time for the Fairgrounds Oaks and the Louisiana Derby. I believe this is our first, well, actually, I guess our second 100-point Derby prep, as the Jeff Ruby Stakes is 100, to the best of my knowledge and memory. I do believe Jeff Ruby Stakes has the 100 points, and the Louisiana Derby is also 100. So this is certainly a win, and you're in for first place, but second place also gets 50 points. And Jackson, that's typically enough to get you in the gate. So we have a couple good races to get into today. The first of which, and you're going to have to bear with us as post positions and morning line odds are not posted yet on the DRF past performances that we're using. But we do have, of course, the horses' past performances. So, Jackson, first up, we're going to dive into the Fairgrounds Oaks. We're going to mile on a 16, 3-year-old fillies, of course. I'll throw our picks up on the screen as soon as I get over there. There they are. And, Jackson, we're both pretty much in lockstep. Bella Ballerina. I'll turn it over to you in just a second. But in my opinion, her or Zany for Todd Pletcher, one of those two is looking at like your perhaps even prohibitive Oaks favorite as we get closer to that first Friday in May.
Yeah, probably. Seems like it's going to be one of those two as of right now. I guess Ball of Rouge might have thrown her hat in the ring too yesterday with the way she ran as well as Explorer. It feels like it's pretty wide open on the Oaks, and as it is for the Derby. So I don't really think there's a definitive favorite at this point. But Bella Ballerina is as good as anyone else. I'm trying to find the morning line. I know I saw it somewhere. I want to say she's 7-5 on the morning line, which sounds about right to me. She's done very little wrong. I mean, she's 3 for 3, but she's also done it the right way, I think, especially looking at that race back at Churchill Downs in the Goldenrod. She was really impressive that day, chasing around a very fast sprinter, got the best of that filly and held on for the win, and also galloped out really well at Churchill Downs. And then she came back at the Fairgrounds, first race of the year. Probably wasn't 100% cranked up for that race, and I thought very similar performance in that, she looked like she was going to win for fun, and then she looked like she was going to get beat at the 8th pole, and then found a way to re-rally when she finally switched leads to go by Love Your Neighbor, and again, she galloped out way ahead of the field. So I think there's more in the tank than she's shown up to this point. She has tactical speed. I would expect her to take another step forward in this race, and if she shows up, she's supposed to be very difficult for these horses to beat.
She is, and I did pull up the morning lines while you were giving your analysis there. Bella Ballerina is 7-5 on the morning line. Second choice just to the inside, and Love Your Neighbor, who, Jackson, I believe we covered the Rachel Alexander Stakes, and I picked this filly, Love Your Neighbor, who got first-time blinkers. She did everything right. She looked like an absolute winner, and I was about to go cash my ticket, and she did the same thing she had done in the previous 3 races, which was just wait for another horse to pass her. I don't know what to do with that, Jackson, because normally blinkers is kind of the difference maker in a lot of situations. So I don't know, Jackson. What do you kind of make of a horse that can't quite get things done on that sense?
Cut back.
All right, that's a valid point without a doubt. All right. Anyway, well, Life of Joy to the outside of Bella Ballerina, another one that is, I would say, on the improve, comes out of a race behind Zany, who I mentioned is another top kind of Oaks contender at this point in the Road to the Oaks and road to that first Friday in May. Jackson, all of these fillies have to take a big step up, or if not a big step up, a substantial step up to compete with the likes of Bella Ballerina, and Bella just kind of has to keep on rolling.
Yeah, I think Life of Joy and ran okay in the Goldenrod when she faced off against Bella Ballerina, but I thought she got the run of the race that day and was clearly no match. Now again, these are lightly raced 3-year-old fillies. They can improve in a hurry. But if we're talking about betting this race, and one of them is 7-5, and Life of Joy, I'm assuming, is the second choice in the morning line, I want Bella Ballerina in this spot.
Yeah, Life and Joy is 4-1, so actually your third choice. So maybe even a little bit of value in a spot like that. Up to you on how you would view that. But Jackson, we'll move on now to the Louisiana Derby. Excuse me, where we're going to have a differing of opinion here. I'm going to go to the rail horse and the number 1 Pavlovian. Jackson to the number 9, who I assume is your favorite in Emerging Market. And Jackson, we're going to watch the replay of Emerging Market, and I'll give the floor to you as he beat Power Shift, two of the strongest, I would say, maiden performances that you'll see go on. And we're going to skip ahead to about the backstretch here. And Jackson, I'll let you go ahead and take it away. Emerging Market is the number 2 horse in this field. You can see that horse sitting in 5th, and Power Shift is the 3 down on the inside on the rail.
Yeah, he was really impressive in this race. Obviously there was a lot of buzz surrounding himself and as well as Power Shift. They took a lot of money and kind of heard about both of them prior to this race. And I thought they lived up to the expectations in here. It looks like right here that Power Shift's kind of going to win for fun. And then Emerging Market kind of just blitzes them at the quarter pole and puts his head in front. And, I liked quite a bit that Power Shift fought back and they exchanged a little bump right there. And Emerging Market could have easily quit, could have called it a day, could have hung a little bit. But that's not really what happened. He found another gear in the final furlong and gradually begins to pull away here late in the final yards. And it was a really good debut for both of them. And as you can see, they're way, way ahead of the rest. All the signs of a fast race, and certainly came back that way speed figure wise. The question is, can he do it again? And to me, if he does it again in here, he's going to win this. He's going to win. He's 6-1 on the more line. That's ridiculous, to put it lightly. He's going to be no worse than second choice in here. But when you're looking through the rest of this field, there's just not a lot in here. The horse to beat is Chip Honcho, because Chip Honcho is probably loose in the lead again as he was last time. But that was probably as good as Chip Honcho was ever going to run, was in the Risen Star going 1 1/8. Now he's got to go even further. He had absolutely everything his own way that day. I just don't think he's capable of running a faster race than that. Going more distance at ground, he's probably a horse you want to look at going further down the line on a cutback. And the rest of this field just doesn't really do a whole lot for me. I mean, you're looking to like horses like Pavlovian is not great. Autobahn, there are plenty of holes to poke through. I guess Golden Tempo is going to be the third choice in here, but he's going to be 10 lengths out the back yet again and just hasn't been that fast up to this point. So to me, it's really does Emerging Market run back to the debut race? He's going to win. And if he doesn't, Chip Honcho's probably going to have things his own way and run another 90 buyer and he'll win. So I think it's one of those two.
Yeah, Emerging Market obviously I think deserves to be the favorite off that last effort. And I was showing the chart from the race after we watched the replay there. Do you make anything of the runbacks in that race maybe not being the strongest, including your second place finisher Power Shift, who ran back in the Tampa Bay Derby and regressed pretty significantly? Do you make anything of that, or do you think Emerging Market, because he was the winner of that race and because he did things really professionally, do you think he's kind of the outlier that could definitely take a step forward here?
I mean, sure, I guess it's a concern that he ran so hard on debut that it kind of bounces a little bit. But, he's with Chad Brown. They gave him more time than they gave Power Shift. And the fact that he's even here in this kind of race, I think tells you everything you need to know about how he's doing. And it's not like that number only came back fast on the buyer. It came back fast on time form, third grab, all the important speed figures. So, again, if he shows up, I think it's his race to lose.
Yeah, I don't really have too much pushback. If he runs back to that, he's certainly going to be a major contender here. I went down to the rail in Pavlovian for my boy Doug O'Neill, Edwin Maldonado in to ride. Look, Jackson, I don't think we need to split hairs, I guess. If they're the same price, which they are listed on the morning line, they're both at 6-1. I'm taking Emerging Market every day. But I think you and I are correct in our assumption that Emerging Market's going to be hammered and will, if not the favorite, will be the second choice in there. I mean, Klarovich Pratt and Chad Brown alone, that duo, I mean, they could be off of 55 buyer and they're going to take some money, let alone the fastest buyer in the field by, I believe, 10 points. So I do think Emerging Market's going to take a substantial bit of money. I think Pavlovian has the opportunity or could possibly drift up in price. So this is one that I think is going to still have that value. I couldn't possibly see this horse being lower than 6-1 in here. Look, that last win, I know it came against definitely, not the strongest group in the Sunland Park Derby. There's no splitting hairs about that, but he's improved in all of his starts. And he's had a pretty lengthy campaign. You don't see any layoff lines since the debut going 4.5 in last May at Santa Anita. And he has been consistently kind of on the track about once a month or so. And I got to hand it to him for being, healthy for that long. Training credit to Doug O'Neill there, but seems to have stretched out in the last two pretty successfully. Obviously, 2 back in the Cal Cup Derby, ran behind Sammy Davis and start the ride. And then last time got the blinkers back on for the first time since late in the 2-year-old season and seemed to have a little bit more finish to him. Edwin Maldonado got him with a little more forward position, and maybe that kind of made a difference. I mean, that certainly got him with a step up, and that was by far the best race he's ever run. So I'm hoping in a race where, Jackson, I don't see a whole lot of early pace. I think Chip Honcho clearly is going to be on the lead early, and it's going to be up to him to hang on for an extra furlong as opposed to the last time in the Risen Star. But I do think Pavlovian has a shot to be close, and there's no really deep closers in here that I'm truly terrified of. And you know, at 6-1 or better, I do want to take a shot with Pavlovian, Doug O'Neill, and yeah, so I'm going to go with a bit of an upset here, but no hate on the number 9 Emerging Market. I don't love Chip Honcho in this spot. I do think the cutback is going to be his friend, as he does get a little bit late in some of those races. And you can see, even though he ran that 92 last time when losing to Paladin, there was no other pace in there, Jackson. He just was able to kind of hang on by virtue of the fact that he was the best of the speed. And that stretch was so long, everybody else kind of was spinning their wheels except for Paladin, who took every inch just to get up by that half length at the end. Jackson, the only other one we should talk about before we wrap things up is Golden Tempo, getting the blinkers on for Cherie DeVoe. Certainly one that has progressed forwardly off the maiden win, came back to win the Lecomte, 3rd in the Risen Star behind Chip Honcho last time. Blinkers on, good move, bad move, and is this just going to be a horse that's going to be a little bit too over bet for your liking?
I mean, the blinkers going on are they're trying to get him into the race a little more, because at this point he has no speed whatsoever, and that's going to work against him again on Saturday because there was very little speed in this race as well. He's got to prove it to me. I felt like in both of his wins when he on debut and in Lecomte really took advantage of good setups those days, and then when things didn't completely fall into his lap, he was not nearly as good in the Risen Star. We'll see. He's another one that's going the right way. You got to think the distance will do him some good. Again, he's improving as a 3-year-old, so it won't shock me, but he's not going to be on my tickets.
Yeah, he's not going to be on my tickets either. Betting wise, are you going to bet any sort of double from the Fairgrounds Oaks into the Louisiana Derby?
Probably just a chalky double. Hopefully get 8-1 in it or so. That'd be the hope.
I like it. I'll probably do the same, betting Bella Ballerina into Pavlovian, try and spice that up. Probably get a little bit more than the chalky end of the double, but rightfully so, because I do believe Pavlovian is going to really need a step up to win here. All right. Thank you guys for joining. Jackson, you and I, obviously, we have the Gallop Out on YouTube for all of our HPI Bet listeners and watchers. We thank you guys. Be sure to go over to the Gallop Out on YouTube later this week, as Jackson and I on Thursday will be covering the Bayou Bluegrass Pick 5, containing the Bourbonnette Oaks, the Jeff Ruby Stakes from Turfway Park that we covered in part 1 of this week's Derby Oaks preview, and the Fairgrounds Oaks and the Louisiana Derby are also included in that pick 5, as well as the 1 1/8 New Orleans Classic to kind of kick everything off to start that sequence. Very competitive and player-friendly wager offered by the Kentucky Racing Group. So it's going to be fun to play. I certainly encourage everybody to go ahead and do that and tune in to us later. But thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time. That's Jack.